So I have no sound. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you. You're
Because
live.
I couldn't hear any of that.
No, I heard it
Technology
great. I hope you
challenges.
ladies can too.
How many of you feel like you could, some days take or leave technology? Here we are. All right. My name is Melanie Greenough. I am the CEO and founder of Create Your Empire. We are doing a full-blown rebrand right now. So I'm so excited for that. We just had our coach huddle for the month, which if you don't know, we have certified coaches that are out there changing lives and changing the world. What's really cool about becoming a coach, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is unleashing your inner coach, is that it's so much more, than just being a coach. Like people think, oh, I should have a coaching business, or I could be a coach or a life coach or this coach or that coach. But I want to expand your horizon today. And I want to go over 3 key principles that will profoundly impact the way you look at your life, your business, your online income, if you adjust as a coach. So I do have Shanda right here with me today. She is a master coach with Create Your Empire. She has been with us for 7 years, which is phenomenal. And we are really focusing this year on empowering women to become better coaches in their lives. So let's dive in with the first key. Number 1, people, women specifically, we're always helping, right? Aren't we always helping? Won't we do more for everyone else than we'll ever do for ourselves? Like, don't we find that, I'll run halfway across town to drop off a lunch for my kid, but I won't stop to make lunch for me in my own kitchen, right? So women are natural born givers. They're natural born doers, which is an important distinction. And there's this really cool thing that happens when you decide to really get in touch with your inner coach. And so it doesn't matter to me if you're a business owner, network marketer, coach, consultant, whatever. If you're not good at coaching yourself and those around you, you are going to struggle. As a matter of fact, I talked to a guy yesterday that's owned his own company for about 20 years, and he had a heart attack, which was terrible. He's fine now. But the reason I bring that up is he said, it was so stressful running a team. Well, running a team of people can be stressful if you don't know how to be a good coach. Being a good coach means that you have key number 1, boundaries, right? Being a good coach means what the expectation is, and you have boundaries for yourself and for others. And this isn't always popular, right? If you guys think about it, if you're growing your side hustle, your online income, if you want to be a coach, if you want to grow something and you're stepping outside of what you currently do, maybe you currently have a business or a traditional way of making money, and now you're stepping into something else and you're, becoming that different version of yourself, it's very important that you have boundaries, because the whole world is going to put their finger in your face and tell you to get back in your box. You have no business doing that. Who do you think you are? You yourself are going to talk to yourself like that, right? I just talked to a woman the other day. Actually, as a matter of fact, she might be on here, and she has a 10-year exit strategy because she wants to retire. She's smart enough to be thinking 10 years ahead. And we were talking about, how the transition time is the time to build in the skill set that you need. So number 1 is boundaries. We want to have strong personal boundaries. Listen, if you want to raise good kids, you better become a good coach. You have no idea how many times I see people arguing with their children. You never need to argue with your kids. You don't need to argue with them. If you have strong, clear boundaries, good communication, which is number 2, we're going to talk about here in a minute. If you have those things in place, then you can set your expectation and have people rise to meet those expectations. Will it work every time? No. And a good coach knows that they can't cause it or change it or cure it. They can only direct it. Okay. So as a coach, you are a director. So number 1 is boundaries. Number 2 is clear communication. I remember when I first started working with Shanda, she was a bit of an over explainer, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally normal. People end up, I kind of think like when you're not so clear on what you're trying to achieve, the result you're trying to achieve, and most importantly, what's important to the other person. See, a good coach knows that I'm just here as a mirror reflection to you so that you can have your actions, words, etc. mirrored back to you and make the changes necessary to course correct and go the right direction. Well, so as an over explainer, what happens is you end up losing people, but so do under explainers. So a good coach is going to take the time to create communication that really focuses on the other person. I'm not actually, going to tell people what to do, although if they ask, I'll give them feedback, but I am going to ask good questions. I'm going to ask direct questions that allow for them to discover answers on their own and really start to learn how to coach themselves. One of the things that we do in Breakthrough Success Coaching, which is our year-long mentorship program, is we talk about all the things, finances, time management, business, branding, the things that it takes to create an online business, email marketing, etc. These different components and reparenting yourself. And so through that process, part of that is learning to coach yourself. Imagine getting out in the world and going to do something and getting stuck. And instead of getting stuck for 3 months, being able to be stuck for 3 minutes and course correct promptly without needing an outside source. At how strong, how confident would you feel if you were able to really ignite that inner coach so that you are creating that framework in your life so that you're not getting stuck running around in circles. Okay. So that's really, really important when we're talking about igniting your inner coach. And I also want to bring up a key point is that if you are growing a network marketing business, you must be a good coach, right? And as a matter of fact, in my opinion, and this is where I really want to wake this up inside of you. And I'm going to have Shanda talk about that. Shanda, actually, if you want to jump on screen, that'd be great. But I want Shanda to talk about this for a minute because, oftentimes when people are recruiting, they are chasing people. There's a energy of almost desperation, and we never want to come from that place. And I don't care if you're recruiting people as a doctor to be your clients, a dentist to be in your chair, a network marketer. I don't care what you're doing. Every business requires sales. A massage therapist, you have to make sales, right? It doesn't matter what you do, you have to make sales. And there's something that happens, and I actually, just did this training the other day. When you switch from being a chaser to an interviewer and you actually become the coach, right? Now what happens is when you're doing strategy calls or you're talking to clients, you're putting on a completely different hat. So Shanda, I'd love for you to talk about your journey from, no experience in network marketing, no experience with online business, just tell them a quick version of how you feel like things shifted for you when you moved from chasing to interviewing and what it means to kind of have that stance inside of yourself as that coach when you're out even creating content. I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. Let's say some gratitude for Melanie in the chat. I know that, she obviously gives away this incredible training to this incredible community. And so let's get some 10 stars for Melanie in the chat. Thank you again for having me. I always love to be a part of anything I can, especially with you. So, yeah, it's crazy because I actually, and they say this, and I didn't know why until I learned this posture. I was like, they say that salespeople aren't usually good at network marketing or leadership. And I was like, why? Everything's sales. You got to sell your kids on broccoli. You got to sell, you got to sell your clients on coming back. You got to sales is a transferable skill. That's why I got into it at such a young age. And the truth was because of how most people sell. And this is how I was trained to do it too, where what I said was, oh my gosh, please, 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 please buy my thing. Oh my gosh. And I just would become so, you guys have been to a car lot, right? It's like, well, what do I have to do to get your business today? And I'm not saying that question isn't a good question in some situations, but it's this energy of desperation, like I need you, and it puts them in this it's a different energy than leadership, than mentorship, than coaching. And so when I was able to learn how to become a coach, I looked at it as I'm here to get you success. And it doesn't matter if that's my niece eating her broccoli, or that's my network marketing team members who are launching businesses or activating them on the products, or it's a customer in my coaching business. It's like, I'm not here for the take your money exchange. It's the, are we able to see success long term? And so having that mentality of it's my job to direct you, like Melanie said, not to do it for you, not to convince you, and certainly not to be a dancing monkey to get your money. It totally changed everything. And it's allowed me now not only to be the person who can prospect with confidence and recruit people into my team, into my business. Building that side hustle has been such a gift, and continuing to do that. But it also helps those people that I bring on see more success, because never at any point am I convincing them that I'm going to do it for them, or saying things that aren't true just to get them to sign up. And there's this ownership they take of it. And there's this like excitement to be a part of something that's going somewhere, and they can feel that. And it was so interesting because I actually had one of my team members introduce me to someone, and she's like, I've never seen him talk that much. And yet I was completely, everyone knew that I was the coach in this situation. But they felt heard, they felt seen, and they were like, how do you guys work together? How can I? And by the end of it, we're asking questions about working with us. And so having that ability to interview, that ability to lead, that ability to, without arrogance, because so much, John Maxwell says, like, the lowest form of leadership is title. I believe, like, and I noticed this with Melanie the first time I met her, I was like, who is this sparkly unicorn? Like, this energy she walks into the room with is like, and I've seen her do it. I've seen her stop people in their tracks and fall over because she wants a server's attention, and she can just energetically stand in that role. And so it's as much an energy shift as it is a skill set, as it is a business role. And so, whether it's with my family, who some of them want me to sit down and be quiet and, take up less space and not build my empire. And so being the leader and the coach in that situation. And then also doing it in recruiting, doing it in building my income streams, doing it in leadership with my team, doing it in all these different roles. It's allowed me to really feel strong and competent. And I just can't even imagine looking at something from a non-coach perspective anymore. It's like everything I learn, I do to teach, and everything I want to do is about paying it forward. And everyone I work with, it's about getting their testimony versus getting the sale, and the results that happen in momentum, in teamwork. And quite frankly, you end up working less and making more. You keep that side hustle, that energy. And so I'm just so grateful for the certification. I'm so grateful for the community. I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity, because I know a lot of people who have built very big side hustles that now they don't know how to do it the same way. And I take that coaching badge of honor to every interaction now, and it makes such a difference. So yeah, thank you, Melanie, again, for opening up and helping me become a coach, because I sure wasn't when I started, that's for sure.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because I think it's funny. Like, people are like, well, I'm not a coach. I'm like, exactly. Of course. But it's so funny, because you said the same thing. You're like, well, I don't want to be a coach. I'm like, but you are a coach. If you're in business, if you're in social media in any way, if you're recruiting, if you're a parent, if you're a wife, you're a coach. How often do I coach my husband? Not that I'm telling him what to do, but he comes to me for feedback. And if I'm going to be, a bossy wife, I'm going to tell him what to do, but that's not what I do. I ask really great questions. And in the beginning, people just they're not used to it. They're like, ooh, that's a good question. Now they expect it from me, right? But I want for you to be able to coach. And when I say coach, it means direct. Be a director, be a almost manager, I remember reading with my kids, I remember reading a book called Boundaries for Kids. And there was some stuff in there that was really, really good. And there was some stuff that I just didn't agree with. And that's fine. But one of the things I did agree with, that was super weird. One of the things I did agree with was that we have to be managers to our teenagers. We are not like, when your kid hits 11, 12, 13, you need to shift from parent to coach. Because what happens is, if you stay in that parent role, that's how you get rebellious teenagers. If you're putting them down and trying to tell them what to do and not empowering them, right? And the biggest thing for me that I know, I love it. I love this. Shay says, why is it that I can coach my husband really well, but I freeze up and can't find the words around anyone else? That's honestly two things. One, practice, just practice. Two, it comes down to, there's this thing that happens, and this is one of the things that we work out of you through, the breakthrough success coaching and also the coach certification specifically, is the imposter syndrome. Like, when we have a tight relationship with somebody, then it actually allows for us to maybe step into a more of a confident role, especially if we feel like we are wise in that situation. But when we take it to market, we can feel wobbly because we don't have that inner confidence as a coach. And that's the reason we have the coach certification in place. But it all starts with Breakthrough Success Coaching, which I know, Shay, you're a part of. So keep going. Congratulations. That's really cool. So Shanda, I just kind of, in closing, want to talk a little bit about, because I'm 15 years from the start line, right? And even probably a little bit further, because I had two businesses before that, pastoring a church. Guess what you are as a pastor? You're a coach. Like, this is what you do, especially in youth ministry and in women's ministry. But you're just a few years. I mean, you're halfway from where I started. So I want you to talk a little bit about where you found the confidence to step into becoming a coach, because you really, Shanda.coach, that's your handle now, right? But that took you 5 years, 6 years to get to that, owning that, what Shay is saying, owning that title. Talk to me a little bit about that process and maybe some steps that they can take starting today to start to play that role out in their own lives.
Well, the first thing that I did was I decided that I was willing to get uncomfortable, right? I didn't want what I had. And they always say, the definition of insanity. And I looked around, and actually, Melanie challenged me in one of the Breakthrough Success Coaching calls. She says, look at the people that you're following right now, your boss, your manager, your mom. Like, do you want their results? And my answer was just no. And I didn't really want to do the things that were going to get me the other, I didn't want to be a coach per se. I didn't want to be a networker. I didn't want to be an online income person, but I was like, I do want to make money while I travel. I do want to be able to work in airports and hotels. I do want to be able to stay home with my kids. I do want to be able to make my own schedule. I do want to have uncapped income. I do want those things. So I was more looking for a solution than I was connected to the how. And so I just opened my mind. So that's the first thing is, we can't do what we've always done and expect to get something new and not change. So that was the first step. And so that decision is one that I got really clear on, like, if not this, then what? And I couldn't find someone with more results with the lifestyle I wanted, who still had their family, who still had, beautiful relationships, who got to travel. Like, I knew people with money, but I didn't know people with the life I wanted. So this, if not this, then what thing, I just became open. So I was like, fine, I'll do whatever you say, Melanie. So it was very kind of kicking and screaming. So you don't have to be like, someone said, thank you for having a vision for so long that I could come to be a part of your team. I was like, I didn't have a vision for what I wanted. I didn't see this until more recently. I just knew what I didn't want. And I knew that I couldn't keep working the hours I was working. And I looked at the last 10 years, and someone asked me, like, out of the last 10 years, how much have you made and how much do you still have? And how long is it going to take for you to get to the $4 million you need to retire? And like, what if interest rates go up even more? And like all of these things, I was like, wait a second, what I'm doing is not working. And what Melanie's doing is clearly working. So I'm just gonna suck it up. I've done work, I've worked in a trash hauling business. I worked at McDonald's. Like, I've had worse jobs for sure. So deciding what you do want or deciding what you don't want and being open to something else. That was the first thing. The second thing I would say is I didn't have the confidence, honestly, until very recently. Someone asked me that. I would say like, the last year, basically. But what I did is I had faith in Melanie, and I had faith in the community. This concept of hindsight's 2020. I can look at my past and say, okay, I could teach someone. This is why parents teach their kids how to drive, right? Because we're like, I know what I need to teach you, but actually we're not that qualified to teach driving. We're not driving instructors. But you can look at your life and you can know the hindsight is 2020 concept makes sense. I hope, because that was true for me. And I said, well, if Melanie's been where I am, working too much, making too little, not enough time to do the things that she wants, unable to travel, and she had debt, then maybe she has what I want, then by definition, her hindsight is the thing that I'm confused and scared of. So I just trusted. And for a lot of, I still to this day use her coaching materials. Everyone I work with is in breakthrough success coaching. In my network marketing business, in my coaching, this is how it rolls. Because she's really good at what she does. She has a track record of helping all of these people. And over a decade, if you have a decade of success in something and I don't even know what I'm doing, why would I pretend to even try to do that? So I just said, like, let's do it together and let's follow someone with a track record. And so connecting people to her coaching, connecting people to the coach certification. A lot of people in here will be able to attest to that. So follow someone who has what you want. Don't worry about being an authority in something you're not. You can delegate to mentors and expertise. That's a huge value. Most people don't know where they're going or who to follow. So that's a big deal. And then just being, curious enough to be willing to believe for long enough that you get the success that you're looking for, and keep going. And action, you got to do the things. So that's what I would suggest to anyone looking at this, wanting more, is definitely, if you're not in breakthrough success coaching, get there. If you have a team, get them there, get them in this Facebook group, stay plugged in and follow directions, take action, and you'll be amazed. Give us a year. That's what she said at the beginning. She's like, give me a year of your life. You won't recognize yourself. I'm like, well, I could do a year. And like, it's crazy, y'all.
So good. Okay. Well, so what I want to do is, just to wrap up, Shanda, if you don't mind grabbing the link for them to book a call to see if breakthrough success coaching is right for them. I think that's a good next step. And they can talk about the coach certification if they want to, but obviously they, if you get the certification, it comes with the success coaching, or you can just go into the success coaching. So that's step number one. Number two, I really want to make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you're in our free Facebook group. So that is really, really important as well. And what you're going to want to do is head over to Facebook and go to Create Your Empire, or maybe we can put that link in the chat as well. So do we have the link for your call, Shanda, to get that booked? If we can get that up on the screen. And then what I want you guys to think about is, as we're drawing the year to an end, what do you want 2024 to look like? Do you want to have a better relationship with your kids? Do you want to have a better relationship with your spouse? Do you want a better relationship with money and yourself? Do you want to be able to have the ability to coach your teams? Do you want to be able to build teams at all? I mean, some people really, truly, they get started in network marketing and they have no experience, and that's normal, but you can't stay with no experience and expect to get a check. Like, it doesn't work like that. So whether you are brand new to coaching, consulting, network marketing, and or thinking of transitioning, like the woman that I talked to earlier, into whatever business you're doing, becoming a coach is a really, really important part of that step. And so I want to make sure that you guys are set up for 2024. I want you to start thinking about what you want. We're going to have a series of events coming up. I'm so excited. November 30th, you can mark your calendars. We'll be releasing that event registration next week, but we are doing an online income, basically breakthrough success call. We're going to be doing a master class on how to create online income in 2024 for you, whether you have experience or not. 6 easy steps, whether you know what you're doing or not. So that's really important. I want you guys to get that on the calendar. But I'm going to tell you that the time is now. And the reason I say that is through Breakthrough Success Coaching, we're going to be going through what you want your 2024 to look like, because you need to start now. The reality is that, you know, you've got Thanksgiving coming up, you got Christmas coming up. And if you don't take action now and you don't get focused now, you're about to lose 8 weeks of your life that you can't get back. And 8 weeks of your life, just to give you guys an idea, that's like what are we talking? We got 2 months out of 12. So we're at 20% of your year, your income gone. So we really, really need to focus, because as you are amping up, everything kicks off in January. Everyone wants transformation in January. Everyone wants to make more money in January. Everybody wants bigger businesses in January. And so we need to make sure that you are positioned for that growth in January. So go ahead, get your call booked. You can talk to us about Breakthrough Success Coaching, about the certification if you want to. And make sure that you guys are in that free Facebook group, because we're going to be doing a load of free training coming up, just like this one, to help you shift your mindset and your skill set towards becoming a side hustle guru, for one, and making the most amount of money that you can in 2024, so that you can set yourself up. The world is changing very rapidly. We know it is. So we have to be aware that we have to change just as rapidly to keep up with it. So with that, Shanda, thank you for being here. Of course, always an honor. And we will see you guys in the coming weeks. Make sure you leave your comments and get your call booked. We'll talk to you soon, okay? Bye for now.